So we are now just gonna eat vegetables.
We're gonna eat a lot of vegetables. This is like a sad vegetable recipe. So by sad, I mean the vegetables that get lost in the back of your fridge. You always forget about a couple carrots. Maybe you picked up a squash and you let it sit on your counter for a month. And you're kind of like, what do I do with it? Roast them. So we took carrots and there's a butternut squash. We roasted it for about 20 minutes, 350 degrees. You can't really go wrong. Roasting it, again, just brings out that flavor. And then what we're going to add, because I really like pairing colors with colors in the plant world, especially orange, because we are using turmeric root. Turmeric root is the queen of anti-inflammatory in the natural world. It has an active compound called curcumin, which really supports reducing inflammation in your body. And so the beautiful thing is that when you juice fresh turmeric, this is what it looks like. And it's very, very potent. But when you mix it with root vegetables, I find that it kind of hides the flavor because it is really potent. Like turmeric is a really intense flavor. The intense flavors normally mean that it's very good for you. So we're going to use the carrot and the butternut squash to kind of hide the turmeric. And then as a base, we're going to use hemp seeds.
Nice. And you got some ginger there too.
Yes. Ginger, we're going to use a little bit as well. So again, ginger is an extremely good digestive aid. And they're just awesome roots. They're really good for you, add so much flavor. And these are two that are actually very good bases for like a curry. So this is going to have like a little bit of like a curry-esque flavor.
Okay.
But the hemp seeds actually add like a really nice nuttiness to it without it using nuts. So it is nut-free.
Nice.
And going back to the lovely world of like one blender wonders, you put everything into a blender, you blend it, and then you look at it and you see if it needs water or oil, depending on what type of texture you want. So we are going to grab our blender. We're going to put, we start off with the root vegetables, and then we are going to add in a couple other ingredients. So grab the blender jug, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you. So you can add half the squash and half the carrots. Use your hands. I always say hands are your best tools in a kitchen. I know some people don't like using their hands.
Oh, you guys, if you don't touch the food, where does the love come from?
That's exactly it. Your hands tell you everything. It's the quickest way to know if something is done. Obviously, don't burn yourself, but these have been cooled for a while. We're going to add about a cup of hemp seeds.
Okay.
There you go. And these are hulled hemp seeds, which just, they have a bit higher protein. I find that the taste and the texture is much smoother, so you can just add that right in. So we're now going to add about half of this bottle, which is about 12 pieces of turmeric.
12? Is that enough? You got enough in there?
I like to make things potent. When you eat your food, it should do good things for you. And it also goes, nice catch, it goes really well with the flavor of the carrot and squash. So yeah, so add about half of the bottle in there, please. Now it is time to flavor it. So again, this is very like personal preference. I can eat like 10 cloves of raw garlic a day. Love it. Some people don't like it. So this is just good quality garlic powder. I'll let you. Let's start with 2 teaspoons and then we'll adjust. You can always add more. You cannot take out anything when you make a dip. So I always tell people when you're making it, add less than you think so that you don't overpower it. This is dry basil. 1 teaspoon will work. Dry basil is a much different flavor than fresh basil. I really like it, again, with like root vegetables and turmeric. This is oregano, 1 teaspoon as well. Beautiful. And then we're gonna go 2 teaspoons of onion powder. Onion powder, it seems redundant. It adds so much flavor. Now that we have all of our dry ingredients, other than the turmeric, we're gonna start by adding just about 2 ounces of water, just to see what type of texture we get, and then we're gonna keep adding more. Same thing with the seasoning. You cannot take out moisture, you can only add moisture in. We have our filtered water. We're just gonna eyeball it. I'm gonna go a little bit more. There we go. So now you can put the lid on. We're going to blend it. So the other thing with dips, it's one of the few things I add salt at the very end too.
Ah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because I might not need it.
Might not need it, and it's so easy to oversalt things. Pate?
That's what looks like a whistle.
What's that pate? I've never seen that.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
that noise, that is telling you that your blender is working too hard. So we're gonna stop it. There we go. So that gives you like a good idea of, okay, it's very thick.
It's very thick.
So now I'm gonna add a little bit of oil.
Like a little blob? You don't have to tell me. Boop.
Oh, a little bit more. A little bit more. A little bit more.
Yeah?
Yeah. There we go. And then we're gonna add the water again. One more. Let's try there.
So this is where we want it to be.
Yes, so we finally have the texture that we're really happy with. Now we're adding one of my favorite ingredients of life. Sounds dramatic, but it is that important. Nutritional yeast, like we were talking about it, for vegans or plant-based world, it is the ingredient that gives something a cheese-like flavor. But the cool thing about nutritional yeast is that it actually has the highest amount of B12 out of any ingredient. So it's like sprinkling on a vitamin that makes something taste like cheese that's dairy-free.
Who doesn't like cheese and vitamins?
And vitamins that taste like cheese.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
If you could make a cheese tablet, everyone would eat that. And that's right here. This is your cheese tablet.
I think cheese tablets are like cheddar, blocks of cheddar.
That's fair.
But this is healthier. So we're gonna add just like two tablespoons. I do find it is very potent.
Yeah.
And I don't want this to be like a cheese dip. It just adds a nice little amount of flavor. And then we are gonna add about 2 teaspoons of salt. And just another splash of water, because that's the other thing with hemp seeds specifically. The longer you allow them to sit, they'll actually start to absorb more liquid.
So you gotta work fast.
You gotta work fast. You are good to go.
Smoothie setting?
Smoothie, yes, thank you.
Alright, so that's blended.
Best part,
You gotta taste it.
you gotta taste it. You gotta check for salt, for pepper, for balance, for texture.
It's so creamy. And smooth, and then nothing is overpowering anything else. They're all just kind of dancing together.
See, that's crazy. We added so much turmeric.
You don't taste the turmeric.
You don't taste it.
Yeah, like when turmeric's in something a lot, you can tell. That's so delicious. And you can tell like the roasted vegetables are in there too.
Mm-hmm.
There's that earthiness to it, but it's rich, but it doesn't feel heavy. That's a delicious, delicious seed dip.
It's a people pleaser, nut free, but also even if you don't eat plant-based or vegan, it's just a good dip.
So you'd want that on crackers?
Crackers, veggies.
Sandwich. You can spread that in a sandwich?
Yeah,
So good.
it'd be really good in a sandwich.